Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. We already covered 4 hours earlier on in the VTEC Super Series, but tonight it's the BSR Grand Tour, and well, tonight the tour takes us to the United States and the Watkins Glen circuit in New York State. Andrew Woodhouse here alongside Smooth Kumo, and it will be potentially Sam Fitzpatrick as well at some point. But yeah, Sam, we're here. We're back again. 20-minute race, this first one. And we've got a 20-car field of GT3s. Big change is that no longer multi-class the series.
Yes, it's big change here. We also changed the track. It was originally meant to be Solder, but it was changed to Watkins Glen. I'm not exactly sure
So
why.
nothing stayed the same.
No, exactly. Everything's changed. We don't know what's going on with the points. Now it's single class. Oh,
Are our names still the same? I don't know.
I
Nobody
think I see some BSR guys here, so maybe.
Well, are their names still the
their
same?
names. Yeah.
Are their names still the same? Yeah, that's the question, right? Anyway, Adam Bass will be joining us actually about 9 o'clock, so that's good.
Oh, and there's Sam as well.
Yeah, sorry for
hello.
being a couple of minutes late, but just loading in now.
In fairness, Alex did say it was 5:30.
Yeah.
How are we doing, Sam? Anyway, we refreshed in that sort of 45 minutes, ready to go again.
Refreshed isn't the word I'd say, but I guess a bit of time off, and yeah, should be a good one. This all one
Should be
class,
alright.
so I'm looking forward to this.
Put it this way, right? If we're feeling any fatigue whatsoever, lads, then I feel that it'll go away because this will be fast and furious action with 20 GT3 cars ready to have a dust up around Watkins Glen. The circuit itself is the classic boot layout. Now, for those who have seen Watkins Glen and maybe only seen it in the NASCAR Monster Energy series, this is a different layout to the one that they use. The chicane at the bus stop is bypassed, so it goes straight on past that, and then into the infield around the carousel. And instead of going all the way around the carousel, it splits off halfway through, goes into the infield section known as the boot, and then comes back on sort of halfway down the straight that is normally after the carousel. There's a short left-hander onto the what is basically the cup circuit. So it is pretty much, as I'm aware, a very similar layout to that used to host the United States Grand Prix when it was here. So yeah, it's not too different. I think they had the circuit had a lot of changes, and over the years, but it's still fast. Sam, Sam, of course. And it's an open question then to either one of you. The circuit has changed, but it's definitely one of my favourites, and I don't know what you guys think of it.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites as well. It's got a great flow through it, and there's not really like a painful corner. Lots of these corners are banked as well, so it really does help the car around each of these corners. And yeah, I think it certainly incorporated the great flow of the first section, the boot. And yeah, it's just a super fun circuit and brilliant for racing as well. I think without the chicane as well, you can make a few more overtakes down that back straight. And often we see side by side at the end of the back straight, which is very interesting.
So it was just trying to do a bit of research anyway. It was slightly different when it did host the US Grand Prix, and it used to be quite different. The S's used to be a bit tighter and maybe a tiny bit slower. And then after the carousel, it was really flat out. Apart from the fact there was a fast left kink halfway through the straight, and then a long right-hander known as Big Bend, and that was down where the start-finish line pretty much is now. So the start-finish line used to be after what's turn one now. So yeah, slightly different, but in general, it's the same track. I like what they've done with the place. Is what I'm saying. So 11 turns here, 5.41 kilometers, and qualifying is over. So we're going to go through the grid for round 1. Anwar Barrell-Smith is on the pole. Adam McNally is second. Rafe Cullinan in third. Jim Flanagan fourth. Kip Stevens is fifth with Scott Malcolm in P6. Seventh is Luke Clark. Eighth is Richard Warmingham. Ninth is Max Wright. And then in 10th is John Watson. Then it's Carl Hardy in 11th. Adam Broughton Grant in 12th. Lee Deemer 13th. Dave Christie 14th. David Ayres in 15th. Michael Barry in 16th. And Anthony, he sent me a message about the pronunciation of his name. It is... the pronunciation is Jacobson. Yes, Anthony Jacobson, 17th. 18th, Michael Gray. And Colin Robinson in 19th. So, what do we think then? There's no incident limit in this race, so it could potentially get quite interesting.
Yeah, and there's plenty of places where you can kind of like dip a wheel off the track, gain a bit of time. So these drivers aren't going to be holding back. Going to be all out for this 20-minute race.
All right, here we go then. Smith on the pole, McNally second, Youth Energy drivers on the front row. Eager to get this one underway, no doubt. Good start for Rafe Cullinan to this sort of revamped BSR Grand Tour and putting the BMW up in third place. Just about ready for the start at Watkins Glen. First lap's always frantic here. We'll see what sort of action we get as round 1 will be underway any second now. Here we go. Red lights are on. Revs building. Noise building 2. Green light is on. Good start at the front by Smith. McNally eases away in second. It's going to be fairly close into 1 between Cullinan and Flanagan. They go through. A bit wide for Smith, but he maintains it. You can go a little bit wide and get away with it through there. So up the S's for the first time. Smith, McNally, Cullinan, Flanagan.
Oh, big hit. Up the S's, big pile up.
And it's Lee Deemer who's off, and it's also... Oh, it is a pile up indeed. The track is blocked. It's... Oh yeah, it was Carl Hardy and Dave Christie who got together, I think.
Yeah,
and
classic instant up there.
And then behind them, all hell broke loose. Deemer involved, and Jacobson, and then another Mercedes as well of Michael Gray having to wade his way through the cars who are pretty much blocking the track. But luckily here, it's a longer lap than just the Cup circuit, so the drivers, there's not going to be any danger left once everybody comes through the next time.
Yeah, fortunately, just watching Dave Christie back, just had a bit of a spin, but good start for Anwar Barrell-Smith. Jim Flanagan got an incredible launch. Really looked like he was going to get second place, but then just got hung out to dry on the outside in turn 1. Just had to slot back in behind Ralph Cullinan. Disappointing for Jim because he got a super launch, but still running in 4th. Pretty solid start for everyone at the front.
There's now 2 packs. There's those who crashed and those who didn't. Anwar Smith didn't. And he said actually after qualifying that his pole time was a 42.2. He got a 41.9 with a slight off track. So, you know, he's quick out here, and it does take Sam a big, it does take a big effort to break away on this circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. The half the circuit you're pretty much slipstreaming, so it is very difficult to pull away, like you just said. However, he's got an 8/10 lead, 9/10. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a gap, and if he can just break that slipstream, he could be off into the distance. Although I think Adam McNally, Ralph Cullinan, and Jim Flanagan are going to carry on pushing it. Whoa, McNally's in the wall, is he? Oh my goodness!
Nearly.
No, don't spin it, don't spin it. Oh, that was so close.
Well, he wasn't in the wall. I heard the slide in from here. He turned it in. Back end did not want to know, but he did very, very well to not hit anything and not sustain any damage to car 4. Off goes.
Oh, he's off again. He
is off. Bang! Malcolm. Scott Malcolm gets caught up in it. I was going to say that Luke Clark had just gone off in front of them onto the grass, which he did. But he was the one who survived, and it wasn't the same for McNally. And you know what that could be, Sam? We were talking about it earlier on in the VTEC Super Series, that the tyres just don't recover once you have a big moment. It was a big moment for McNally, and maybe that just said, well, it just cried enough when it got to the infield section.
Yeah, maybe, but he also got onto the grass, which may have been the deciding factor there. But like you said, once you heat up the tyres, we saw it earlier on, I think the driver had 3 spins in a lap just because they overheated the tyres, and that can absolutely cause mayhem, and so disappointing that for McNally falling right down the field, was in third.
Car in the... Dave Christie going very slowly coming out of the pits. I think he's just waiting for the field to go through. David Ayres has got back out there as well, using the one fast repair that everybody is permitted in this series. I'm amazed that the likes of Gray and a few others haven't actually tried to get that fast repair, because it does help. Certainly, yes, you've got to make another trip to the pits, but you know, if you've got as much damage as what they've got, it might be worth paying a visit. We're effectively down to 8 drivers who haven't crashed, basically. Broughton Grant hasn't crashed, I don't think.
He's just watched all these crashes, I think, has Adam Broughton Grant, and just probably laughed in the cockpit just seeing what's going on.
Well, I think that most of them were behind him, so he might not have seen most of them. But you're right; he might have been in and around that. He might have been in and around the trouble when it began in the S's. John Watson getting a bit sideways. Max Wright in the Audi just ahead of him. Richard Warmingham, P6. Luke Clark in 5th. Then it's up to Kip Stevens in 4th, and he's going well in the Martini car. And then it's Jim Flanagan and Cullinan in 2nd in the BMW, and up front is Anwar Smith, the pole sitter. So, well, got about 15 minutes to go here. And I think, sadly, Sam, we're not going to get much of a challenge at the front, because Smith is so fast in qualifying, looking so good here as well.
We see that, but Jim Flanagan on that last lap was actually 4 tenths faster than Anwar Smith. So I think if Flanagan can clear Cullinan, it's pretty close here. We know it's one of the most common facts, of course, in iRacing, how the BMW has always been slow down the straights, and it's showing it now. And Flanagan looking to the inside, no way to do that. But I think he's going to be able to make that move pretty soon. Coming onto the boot section here, still on the outside, so he's going to have a really good run on the exit here. He has got a chance early on the power, using the downforce of that GT3 car. Has he got a chance down the inside here? It is banked, he can go in deep, but not quite. But he's looking like he's going to make that move any corner now.
Yeah, he'll be saying Rafe Cullinan in the BMW, she needs a few more horses, I think, because here comes it is horses for courses, and the BMW does suit this course rather well. Seems like the Mercedes is suiting Flanagan. And Jim having a going the long way around the outside there in turn 10, turn 9.
I lose count. There's 13, aren't there, on this circuit?
There are 11 apparently.
Oh, 11, okay.
Apparently 11, and yeah, there was 2 left after that one, so I figured that one out to be 9. I've done that well for a change, I think. But 2 seconds is the gap. Oh, it's 2.9 now, actually, because Cullinan's been having to defend from Jim. So, and he runs wide. Flanagan takes the tighter line. You can use either one, Sam, really there, and you know, it's not really a problem either way, is it?
No, not really. And when you're behind, you kind of just want to get in the line, and now he's right on the tail. Cullinan knows it straight away. I think Flanagan might have the pace here. It's difficult to know if you want the inside or the outside here, but he's going round the outside.
Cullinan throws it in. He understeers.
gonna make it, I think. Here comes Flanagan down the inside now, down the hill.
Oh!
Just, I've got to say, I thought that was Cullinan's fault, but
It was
just need
net.
to turn in.
There was net code though.
Oh, really?
There was a bit. It wasn't terrible. Let's have a little look again. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe you didn't leave enough space. It looked like netcode because I think it happened so bloody quickly, that did. But yeah, it wasn't netcode. I think Rafe was being a bit optimistic there. He could have gone round the outside. He didn't. The beauty of that corner is you don't really need a really tight line to actually get round all the way around the outside. You can make it work.
Yeah, there's so many different
that
ones.
means now that Jim Flanagan's obviously up in second place, it promotes Kip Stevens up into the top 3, and then 4th for Luke Clark and Richard Warming up into 5th.
Yeah, Kip Stevens started in P5, now up to P3. Don't think he's been anywhere near making an overtake as Kip, and yet he's now into the podium positions. So I've really picked up the pace as well, and Luke Clark and Richard Warming on the same.
Look at the state of Cullinan's car now. That rear wing is that rear wing has seen better days, and it'll be making the BMW even slower on the straights than it already is, and that's saying something. Let's go. Let's see what David Ayres can do about closing in. I mean, he's a lap behind Cullinan actually, but just wanted to see the pace difference on the straight. Oh, he is closing quite a lot. He's not. Oh, what's he doing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what.
Did you see that?
Yeah, he seems. Did he just go on the gas? Yeah, and nearly lost the rear end. So that was a little bit bizarre there. But yeah, maybe wasn't quite concentrating there, David. But he'll probably just sit in behind.
Probably checking his phone or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. I know that. I think Chaz Drake got here once. I think it was Chaz. I'm probably going to end up end up naming and shaming somebody. But he was doing an endurance race. And he was coming towards the end of his stint, and I believe that the other driver hadn't quite turned up yet. So I'm pretty sure he checked his phone to try to send a message to the person who'd slept in or had done whatever, not turned up. And of course he crashed while sending the message. Don't text while driving is the motto. Definitely. Because if you do that on a simulation, then you're definitely going to do it in real life. Dear me. Stevens it looks like he's catching Flanagan a tiny bit. Who has?
Yeah, sorry, David Ayres just had a spin. Maybe he was looking at his phone in the end. Midway through a corner, probably wasn't the right decision. Lost it really early on, and straight round, but he may just park it from there.
Is it just me, or does it feel like I don't know if it is. It probably is just me, but it feels like in these GT races that we've been covering recently, does it not feel like there's been a lot more spins in medium speed corners than there used to be?
Yeah, at Nürburgring it was bizarre, wasn't it? Where we just saw over the course of the day probably about 8 spins, I'd say.
There were loads of really odd
slow
places.
speed corners, which you wouldn't really expect to be like turn 3, for example, at Nürburgring. You don't think of that as a tough corner.
Well, like that last corner here,
spins.
you just don't people just don't spin there.
No, not usually.
Not really. Anyway, you might spin if you go. I've spun if I've gone like wide onto the grass or something, but it's just the rear ends just seems like they're going. It's the same thing what happened with McNally, Sam, isn't it? Because he just turned in and the rear just went.
Yeah, that's completely right. And nothing wrong about their entries to the corner. They were on the racing line. It's not going to be particularly, the track conditions aren't particularly bad out there. It is 24 degrees track, so really cool. And yeah,
you've still got to be careful a little bit with, when you're on the brakes, especially if you're hitting a quick jab of brakes. You've got to be careful about that weight transfer on the rear. But in general, those aren't corners where it's really like a dramatic. If anything, you're more likely to understeer there than oversteer in my experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have hit the wall on the outside.
In the last corner? Yeah.
Everyone's hit the wall on the outside, but I don't think. Yeah, spinning is unusual because although he does have damage to the to the rear wing, which I'd wonder if that's just. I wonder if that's just affecting him. He's coming through it again here. I want to just maybe go on board with him and just see how he tackled it. Yeah, nothing at all that time. It was absolutely fine. And now he's understeering everywhere. So that was really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. Anwar Smith leads by 4 seconds over Jim Flanagan, who now can't really keep up with the Youth Energy driver. Kip Stevens is in third, sort of holding station. I'm impressed with his performance by Kip though, because he's obviously showing some good pace in this Mercedes. He obviously likes it. Luke Clark in 4th. Richard Warmingham in 5th. He started 8th on the grid. Max Wright in 6th. Adam Broughton Grant has now gained 5 places. Michael Gray, despite having a car that's crumpled and battered and bruised, has overtaken half the field in this race up to 9th.
Yeah, he was really caught up in that first up the hill on that first lap, wasn't he? So he
was massively delayed, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I think he just got a lot of damage, but didn't kind of come to a stop and have to do a 5-point turn to get back going. So he got a bit of a gap over everyone else, and yeah, done a good job just to carry on around there. Can't be easy to drive that car whatsoever.
Yeah, he's only lapping 1 second slower than the leaders.
Yeah.
Which in that car, that's pretty fantastic. Because Anwar Smith's first lap was 1:48, and Gray's first lap was 2:12.
Yeah.
That tells you what he had to deal with there, Michael Gray.
Yeah, and looking at his starting position, he started 18th, which was last, I believe. So he must have been right at the back of that big pile-up, and probably just went straight through it, got a bit of damage, but was really lucky not to get caught up in it too much.
Because in fairness, for Gray, was he tried to slow down as best he could, but he still hit someone. So it was, that's hence that severe damage to the bonnet. Everything else still looks all right, and as we've seen in these cars before, front damage, it gives you a bit of extra drag, so it's a tiny bit slower on the straights, but it's the rear wing that can really kill you if you damage that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the rear of the car generally, that's what can cost you. Maybe that's the reason why I've seen a few spins out there, but the front of the car isn't going to hurt the balance too much, just going to cost you down the straights. He's driven that car well. Wonder if there's a bit of steering damage as well, and if there is, he's dealing with it very well.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure I would be able to be going as fast as he's going with that damage. Maybe without the damage. Smith, on his merry way, just got about 5 minutes to go. Gray?
Oh, I can't believe it.
He must have got excited. He must have heard his name on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And,
we were complimenting him for a good kind of 3 minutes though, weren't we?
Yeah, and now he's undone all that hard work. So you're a disgrace, Michael. No, he's just
it was oversteer as well.
He's just turned into the left-hander, and it just like the rear's gone on him. Oh yeah. You know what it is? He'll be ruining that, because that's a pathetic incident to have, isn't it? And you always end up feeling really stupid after you do something like that. But again, we've all done it. And Michael, you know what? He's lost out to Scott Malcolm, and he's lost out to Lee Deemer. I think Scott Malcolm might have got a fast tow. I'm almost certain he got a fast tow. Deemer, I don't think he did. He's lapping in the 44s, is Deemer, so I imagine he hasn't. Gray didn't hit anything though, Sam. That's the silver lining for him. So he might have a chance at Deemer here.
Yeah, it was within about 6/10, dropped back to about a second now, and I don't think he's going to really be too close. That is kind of forming. Kip Stevens and Luke Clark closing in by half a second on that last lap, and now that he's in the slipstream, he may fancy his chances for a race 1 podium.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second that time as well. So Stevens did a good lap, 43.3. Luke Clark a better one, 43.0. Fastest man on the track at the moment is Jim Flanagan in second place, 142.7. Adam Broughton-Grant's going well in the Mercedes as well, 43.0 for him. Everyone's in the 43s apart from the really damaged cars. Dima, Gray, Michael Barry, Carl Hardy. Those guys are in the 44s. McNally's in the 43s, but he's 1 minute and 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, Luke Clark now within half a second, so he is edging closer and closer. He's literally just taken about 3/10 out for the past 5 laps and wide. That could have been a lot worse. Didn't lose too much time, lost maybe a 10th doing that. But he's really looking good. I think through this final section of corners, I think this is where he's gaining the time. But down the straights, he doesn't have much an advantage, it seems.
He's very close now, though. Oh, was that on the slipstream? Has a little look into the heel of the boot. At turn 8, here's 9. If you use that little, slightly newer patch of tarmac through there, that does help. And same on all these corners. You see at the inside of the corner has a fresh, well, I say fresh, not too fresh, but newer, better quality bit of road. Clark now is closing in on Stevens a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to be in range this time, I think. Just needs to nail the exit.
He didn't get turn 1 right.
Nah, but he's still going to be... He's going to be relatively close. Yeah, I think he's going to be a little bit too far behind this time. It's just
he slid. He really slid in the middle of the corner.
Yeah.
The car just washed out completely. And it's funny, he would have been right there, I think, if he'd have been 2/10 better in turn 1, because he's really gaining on Stevens. It's about 10 kilometers an hour faster than him at the end of the straight, but now he gets right up there behind the Mercedes AMG. Martini livery into the chute.
And this is the last lap, is it not?
Yeah, probably is going to be the last lap. Anwar Smith gets, I think he gets the white flag there. Oh, Clark's crashed. He's crashed.
Oh dear.
Oh. Well, he might be able to keep going. If indeed he can keep going. That's a famous quote in there somewhere. Oh, Warmingham's gone through. He's up into P4. I think Clark will be all right. If he's got to do 1 lap, he'll...
Oh, no, he's gone wide.
Oh, no, he can't turn left.
Oh, no, and he's got another left-hander to come.
Oh, he can't turn left, Luke Clark. He can turn right, and here's Broughton-Grant. Well, he's going to make it to the end. He should do, Clark, anyway. He's having to do full left-hand lock to turn around the penultimate corner. Right-handers look okay. I think he's going to make it, because luckily for him, Sam, there aren't that many... there aren't actually that many... left-handers. That was what I was saying.
Yeah, well, I think
Smith
that's the last
finished.
lap. Yeah, Anwar Smith has come across the line to take the race 1 victory, just ahead of Jim Flanagan, and Kip Stevens hung on at the end there.
Apologies for that. I thought he was on a different part of the track when I looked at him. Oops. Good win for Smith, though. Well done to him. And yeah, a brilliant performance. He was on pole. He said he had some good pace, and proved it here. Wins by 5.8 seconds. Michael Barry and Carl Hardy still going. Michael Barry in the Ferrari, the only Ferrari that's out there today. And then Hardy's Mercedes. Reasonably close between those two, but it's going to be Michael Barry that gets there. Adam McNally will be the last finisher. So Anwar Smith takes the win. And, well, Sam, that race was really defined by the action on lap 1.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first few laps, we saw some big collisions up the hill. And then, who was it who... It was Adam McNally, wasn't it? Who spun just midway through the second lap.
Yeah, we took out Scott Malcolm.
Yeah, and once all that happened, then it pretty much just settled in, didn't they? There was kind of a second between each driver out there. and we kind of had to wait until the final lap for Luke Clark to have his issue. Max Wright to have his issue, just falling down the field.
Well, I think we have the. I believe we'll have the results for you, and I'll bring them to you now. Anwar Smith wins the race by 5.8 seconds. Jim Flanagan in second place. Kip Stevens in third. Richard Warmingham getting P4 with Max Wright in fifth. Adam Broughton Grant sixth, and Luke Clark, so unlucky, in seventh. Rafe Cullinan eighth, and then ninth Scott Malcolm, who did survive to take a top 10. Lee Deemer in 10th, 11th for Michael Gray. Michael Barry in 12th. Carl Hardy 13th and Adam McNally 14th. One lap down, Anthony Jacobson and David Ayres. And then John Watson and Dave Christie, they were out. Colin Robinson didn't take the start, so I'm not sure what happened there. Over to Mr. Kumo for the reverse grid. And, well, Sam, what are the options here?
Well, this time we have a slightly smaller reverse grid, although it might be a full, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Is it the same as the other ones? Is it full -1 and things like that?
Yeah, exactly. With
Here we go, then. So
slightly smaller numbers.
So a full would be David Ayres, 16th, but he's not going to.
Well, it's a
probably
full
get
because it is 24, and we don't have 24 drivers in the grid.
Oh, so it is a full. So it's David Ayres.
Yes.
Just going to get that. Sorry, Sammy, it's a bit redundant, that, isn't it, mate? Really, but never mind. So David Ayres will be on pole for race 2. Anthony Jacobson then in second. Adam McNally in third. Carl Hardy fourth, and Michael Barry in fifth. When we return for race 2 in the BSR Grand Tour.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. Welcome back to the BSR Grand Tour at Watkins Glen, United States. Andrew Woodhouse and Sam Fitzpatrick with Sam Kumo on the cameras. As Cal Hardy crashes into the wall in practice, and a few people crashed into the wall in race one, Sam.
Yeah, we saw a big pile-up on lap 1, and then we saw a couple of other incidents. Kind of weird, all oversteer incidents, really. A couple of times drivers got out on the grass, lost control of their vehicles, and really at the end of the race we only had half the grid remaining, and there was only kind of 7 drivers, I think, who got away scratch-free. So hopefully we see a little bit better attrition in this one, because
luckily, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think there's a really tight kind of midfield, and I think it's tight at the front as well, because the front runners got to make their way up through the grid with this full reverse.
Yeah, that's true. And David Ayres is going to be on pole for this one. I was going to say that luckily, because of the fast repair, drivers could stay in the race, and because I think if it wasn't for the fast repair, I don't think we've had many left.
You know, and remember, this was just a 20-minute race, of course, so it wasn't as though we were going for a while. But I think this time maybe a little bit more.
I think we lost less
conservative on the first
people.
lap.
I think we lost less people in the 4-hour race than we did in this last one that we just did.
Yeah, I think you might genuinely be right there. So, yeah,
I think, in fairness, I think actual retirements, there weren't many. I think there were 2 or 3. But more people, almost as many people bit the dust as in the 4 hours, the VTEC Super Series that we saw earlier on. Good news looks like that Colin Robinson looks like he's made it to the proceedings this time, which is good. He's brought a Ferrari with him as well. Good to see some different cars out there. Quite a lot of Mercedes in this series. I think, to be honest, I do think the Mercedes is my favourite because it just feels like there's a pace. They're doing a full pace lap as well, and I think the Mercedes is my favourite just because Sam, I think it's quite placid. It does what you want it to do a lot of the time.
Yeah, I haven't driven too much of the GT3s. I kind of drive more the prototypes and the GTEs, but
disconnection for Max Wright. That's bad news for him.
Yeah, Max.
He
Wright
might be able.
Well.
Yeah, I think he's going to miss the start. So he'll have to start from the pit lane. Although, will he get?
I think he's going to be a full lap down. Yeah, because my team at Sebring, we disconnected just as the formation lap started. And it actually puts you I think it puts you -1 lap. So it starts you on the -1 lap, so he'll be a lap down. That's pretty much his race ruined.
I don't really see the point of a rolling start after the first one was a standing start, but again, I never understand many of these things. David Ayres on pole, Anthony Jacobson in second, Adam McNally third, Carl Hardy fourth. Fifth for Michael Barry. Michael Gray is in sixth, Lee Deemer seventh, Scott Malcolm eighth, Rafe Cullen in 9th, and then Luke Clark in 10th. Adam Broughton Grant's 11th with Max Wright 12th, Richard Warmingham 13th, Kip Stevens 14th, Jim Flanagan 15th, and Anwar Smith, who won race 1, in 16th. John Watson will be starting in 17th place with Colin Robinson in 18th. So, in terms of the circuit, Sam, what do you like about this place and what don't you like?
Kind of just the flow from one corner to another. I don't think there's not really a properly slow corner. Probably the one corner I dislike around the circuit is the third to last corner. It's a little bit off camber, of course, and it's easy to kind of have a silly accident, as we saw actually.
It's a little bit Mickey Mouse in that corner.
Yeah, definitely.
And that curb as well. If you hit the curb, you're going for a spin, usually.
Yeah, that's a horrible curb. It's not massively tall or wide or anything. It's just really awkward if you smack it, and then also on the exit as well. If you dip a wheel onto the
fairly
grass,
steep, though.
You're guaranteed to spin.
It's not the biggest curb in the world, but it is a fairly steep angle, and I think it just unsettles the car. And being off camber as well, you don't really have a lot of chance. Once you do that, you've got to hook on that newer tarmac and really just commit to that line around there.
Yeah, you want to get as close to the curve as possible, but you never want to hit it.
Yes. It's funny, it seems like it might well be the worst corner on the circuit, but it's one where you probably end up losing the most time.
Yeah, I must say it's one of those corners where I don't think anyone's ever felt like they've done it correctly. I think it's just one of those corners where occasionally you're going to drop quarter of a second, 3/10 if you just mess up the braking slightly. Because in these cars, ABS helps it a little bit, but it's a really difficult corner, and I think it's just one of them where there's always an opportunity to lose a 10th or 2.
I feel like
be consistent.
I feel like with this corner, I do agree with you. I think you feel like you go too slowly around there or too quick, and you never quite get it right. I think because the exit tightens up, and we're going to go through there in a second, actually, so you guys are going to be able to see what I'm talking about. If we go on board with David Ayres as he's going round, so we're down at the heel, but coming up now is going to be this corner that we're talking about. You'll be able to see it closely. In fact, you'll be able to see it even closer from Anthony Jacobson's car. It's a very small curb, but it's quite steep, and that's that new tarmac that you've got to really run round on. The exit and the barrier is a straight line because that's where the Cup circuit joins back on. So, yeah, it could almost do, Sam, with an extra 6 feet of runoff area and a bit of a curved exit, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think.
No, unfortunately not. But I'm just coming into this final corner.
It's going to be interesting for David Ayres to see what he can do. Pace cars coming in now, and David Ayres hits it immediately. I don't always feel like that's the best thing to do, but and in this occasion, he might get harassed by Adam McNally into turn 1. Jacobson all the way around the outside. Is he going to take the lead here? It's going on the scenic route. Oh, nearly. Play nicely, gentlemen. That was close. Really, really. Oh, crash!
No.
This is going to be a big one. This is going to be everybody. And it is. All of them. Apart from 2. Warmingham got through. Okay. And, who else got through? Clark got through. Broughton Grant and Deemer got through. And I think that's it. Gray, and obviously the very front. So Gray and Jacobson and Hardy. So it's a great opportunity for these guys now, Sam. It's opened up so much. These guys have got a massive gap, these front 3.
Yeah, absolutely. That's stunning. I said at the end of at the beginning of this race, maybe they'll take it a bit more carefully, do that corner, but no chance they were go into that.
Oh yeah, right. More carefully. Dear me. You know what? We've had some massive. Back in 2012, when we started Apex Racing TV properly, we did an IndyCar race here. It was one of the first races we ever covered, and we were in it. And there were 39 cars on the grid or something like that. I think 20 of them were involved in that section of course. And then I crashed into a parked car, trying to avoid it all. So, you know, it's just a circuit where we say it all the time, but because the barriers are so close, it kind of has that street circuit feel. And if there's a crash in this S's section, obviously it's tends to be a little safer. You know, it's about the safest that these guys can get the track at this point. But a crashed car is just going to bounce off the guardrail and back into the course.
Yeah, we saw that with the UAV8s the other day, yesterday in fact, how you can kind of have cars ricochet.
It probably
off
feels
the
like
walls.
it was days ago after all the commentary that we were doing earlier.
A couple more cars actually pitted there at the end of that first lap. Carl Hardy and Lee Deemer, I think it was, both pitted. Not sure why, because they didn't have too much damage on their cars. But,
unless they got a meatball. Because, I mean, we saw...
then it wasn't that bad. Oh, wow. So Adam Broughton got so nearly lost it. And he's under pressure from Richard Warmingham now. Broughton got so nearly lost it.
These 3 here, Broughton, Grant, Warmingham, and just ahead of them, Luke Clark, they're the last 3 that got through unscathed, basically. Everybody else copped it. You know what? Apart from Anwar Smith, maybe.
And Kip Stevens, he's got a bit of damage, actually.
Stevens definitely copped it, a bit of it.
Yeah, but was full throttle through it, I think, and lost pretty much no time.
That's what you do, charge!
And Anwar was okay, so our race 1 winner, he has got the golden touch today. And
you know what,
he looks good for his second result.
You know what, though? That means that he, with his pace, he's still got a chance of getting in the top 3 here. Now, I wouldn't have said that really about many other people, but he is by far the fastest driver out there today. Jim Flanagan was very fast as well, but he's had to come in and get a fast tow. So we've lost. So McNally's out. Flanagan is 16th. And look, you can see the leader's just behind Flanagan, so he needs to get a move on. But in theory, he should be quicker than the leaders, given the performance in race 1. So Jacobson leads. Gray is in 2nd. 3rd is Cullinan in the BMW. He's got a little bit of damage, but nothing too severe. Luke Clark's in 4th, unscathed completely. So is Adam Broughton-Grant. And Richard Warmingham, I believe he is as well. He might have got a tiny little nudge somewhere as he came through. Anwar Smith then is about 3 seconds behind them in 7th. Kip Stevens is 8th with minor damage. Colin Robinson's 9th with a bit more damage. And in fact, he's just been taken by John Watson. So I think Robinson really might be served by coming in and getting a new car. Carl Hardy in 11th. Lee Deemer 12th. They stayed out because I think they managed to slow up at the back. Sam, would that be? Oh no, they've got a fast repair as well, haven't they? They must have done.
Hardy and Deemer got a fast repair, yeah.
Because they're not that far behind really, considering all that, are they? Only 30 seconds or so. So got a quick pit stop in.
Yeah.
Deemer.
Michael Gray looks good for the lead. Perhaps Anthony Jacobson under pressure here. They got a bit of a gap actually to Ralph Cullinan. I'm surprised Cullinan, actually on that last lap, Cullinan was 1.2 seconds faster than the leader, so he's going to be with these guys soon. And Gray lining this one up now up the hill.
Well, if you remember, he was quick in race 1, was Rafe, so...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he was up there, wasn't he, until the incident with Jim Flanagan. And here comes Michael Gray up the inside, and that's through already for Gray, so into the lead. Good work. And it was all about the run off the S's section, as we so often see. Oh, what's somebody sliding? Might be Cullinan sliding around off Flanagan, but somebody was sliding in the vicinity of these drivers.
Yeah, I heard it again. I think it's going to be Cullinan. They seem to be, really giving it some. Adam Broughton got really on the tail of Luke Clark. No way to do here.
Oh yeah.
Clark was good through in the first race, wasn't he? Nearly got a podium, and then had an issue at the end of the race, just hitting the wall, I think. And Adam
he
Broughton
was good
and closing in now.
He was good, and if it wasn't for that mistake, top 3 position. But also, you've got to think about it in such a way that if he didn't make that mistake, he might have got involved in the crash.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So,
So that might have actually
definitely
gained him some points in the net scheme of things.
Yeah, because the driver who started 3rd, Jim Flanagan, not sure. Whoever started 3rd though got caught up in the incident, didn't they?
It was Anwar was 16th. Third on the grid was McNally. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he got wiped out. So.
Who was it that Clark was battling with in the first race? Was it McNally?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Here we go.
Now, Adam Broughton-Grant side by side.
Right into the S's then. Very fast. You shouldn't really go too wide through here. You can do it. Needs to avoid the wall on the outside. Oi. And each other. That's more important. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be super close. Super close. These Mercedes make a lovely sound as they head down the straight. Clark turns it into Carousel. Still ahead of Adam Broughton-Grant. Richard Warmingham's in 3rd. Usual teammate of Clark. Modak Racing. Broughton-Grant's definitely got the pace here, Sam. He's looking eager to get through.
Yeah, definitely. Luke Clark is defending into every corner now, and Anwar's going to get involved.
Oh! Almost too good.
Yeah, on the power so early. Don't think he's going to go for a move here, is he? No. Seems quite unwilling to go for a move in this boot section. Really wants to get it done.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because there's not massive braking zones down here, are there?
Yeah, it can go wrong. We saw it with Cullinan and Flanagan in race 1. It can definitely go wrong in. It can 100% go wrong in Watkins Glen when you try and do that in the infield. Now, neither man got a fantastic run through there. Broughton-Grant was a bit wide. Clark missed the apex.
Clark deep on the brakes there, wasn't he?
Broughton-Grant was even deeper on the brakes that time. And he was sliding the rear of the car.
Yeah, got a nice drive though, didn't he? So he's right in the... this is where you want to be. You don't want to be too close because he wants to get the slipstream here and really carry the momentum. But here comes Richard warming him just behind with a fantastic turn of speed.
Speaking of momentum, this is going to work out rather nicely for Warmingham, I think. Broughton Grant throws it up the inside. Broughton Grant could well be the quickest out of the three of these drivers, but he might end up getting shuffled back to the back of the line.
Yeah, Warmingham, will he go to the inside
Here comes Smith.
Smart. Oh, Smith's wide, and all of a sudden, Adam Broughton Grant back on the tail of Luke Clark. Clark going to have to defend here. No way through for anyone this time round.
Well, 4th place is at stake here. BSR Grand Tour. Andrew Woodhouse and Sam Fitzpatrick, with Sam Kumo very ably doing the cameras as usual. And it's a 13-lap race here in race 2. Adam Bash will be joining us soon as well. And, well, 4th place at stake, like I said. Luke Clark, Adam Broughton Grant, Richard Warmingham and Anwar Smith. Anwar Smith winning race 1. But I did notice, do you remember in the middle of the race, I said Adam Broughton Grant was one of the quickest men out on the track. So he's definitely got a good race car underneath him.
Yeah, definitely. And now the battle for second is heating up. Cullinan right on the tail of Jacobson. I think he might go for a move here into turn 1. Not usually where you make the move, but down the inside he comes. And Jacobson perhaps not fighting too hard, sensibly there. And he might try to fight back at the end of the straight. I think he'll let
Well, I think he will. I think he'll be able to, because
the BMW slow.
he's already on the BMW.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to fight in that. I think he's happy with the third. And actually Adam Broughton Grant even closer this time.
Yeah, look, he's lifting, isn't he? He could well have been up there with him. But I think that is there really a good place at all to pass for the BMW though? Because if he passes into the first corner, which he did, he would have been easily eaten on the straights. I think Jacobson might realise that Cullinan might be a little bit quicker, like you said. But if he tries to pass him on the straight, he probably won't get enough slipstream because he's not fast enough.
Yeah, and also after the boot, that's where he's gaining the time as well in the BMW. So that's where he was closest. Anwar just.
Oh, the BMW is great on the infield section. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Anwar Smith managed to get the move on Richard Warmingham, come down the end of the back straight, and Adam Broughton Grant actually down the inside this time of Luke Clark might have the chance. Down the inside he goes. Luke Clark's going to hang it round the outside. Can he keep the inside? Bit of a wiggle there for Broughton Grant. And
what Smith's going to do
is
might be the interesting thing here, because Smith
just backs out.
Smith obviously wants to get past these two, while he's still got a chance to get up after Jacobson and Cullinan, but he doesn't want to rush it. We saw what happened earlier on in the VTEC Super Series when drivers are impatient, and well, Anwar Smith is usually pretty good in these situations, and so is Broughton Grant, and he's now all over Luke Clark. But Clark nailed turn 1, a great exit, and now possibly he might be okay. Smith catches Broughton Grant at just the worst moment when he can't get any additional momentum. Now he gets the slipstream off of Clark, and here comes Warmingham. He's not done, and Smith is through already. Broughton Grant tries to fight back. Smith trying the long way around the, well, not such a long way around. Takes the middle of the corner. Broughton Grant on the inside.
Oh, that was really good there from Anwar Smith. You like to make two such good moves, despite not having an advantage with the slipstream, of course, because they've all got to. That was super impressive, and I think of all of these guys, Luke Clark might be the easiest, just because Clark doesn't have the slipstream.
Well, so, he was clever because he was clever because as soon as Broughton Grant went to defend the inside, Smith just stayed where he was, and of course picked up the slipstream, whereas Broughton Grant, by going to the inside to defend, has sacrificed his slipstream.
And Smith will look for a move down into the third to last corner. No way through that, but I think he's going to have him come the end of the back straight, unless, I think if anything, it's worth for Clark just to lift off just before the S's, just to hold up
tiny
Smith.
Bit, yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't get the run out of the S's, and then he
catches him. Yeah, so he can't like get a run up at it.
Yeah, he's really close right now. So I don't think he's going to have the slipstream up the S's to get the momentum onto the back straight to make the move easily.
So we have 5 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. Michael Gray leads, Rafe Cullen in second, Anthony Jacobson third. You're looking at the battle for 4th place between Luke Clark, Anwar Smith, Adam Broughton-Grant, and Richard Warmingham slightly fallen off this group, so I don't think he's going to be a factor anymore, but you never know if they start battling. And Smith tries to go to the outside, but that was never going to be the line. What is Smith going to do, though? He fires it into the carousel. Clark knows he can just run around the outside, using all that camber, that lovely camber to help him round. One of the best corners on the circuit, the carousel. Adam Broughton-Grant with the tight line. He did show more pace than Clark. Can he challenge Smith as well? Forces Smith to the inside. Well, Warmingham's not giving up on this at all. He's still there. Well done to him. I thought he was done and dusted. Oh, and that's exactly what you were talking about, Sam. Just momentum. Broughton-Grant came out of that corner in towards the heel, and his momentum was just stopped instantly by Smith. And here he comes again.
Yeah, can't go around the outside there. It's difficult enough on the inside, but a bit more camber on the inside.
He might try into turn 10.
Yeah, really aggressive driving here from Adam Broughton-Grant. Good driving, however. Really putting on the pressure on Anwar Smith. And Smith has lost contact now with Luke Clark, back up to 0.7 of a second.
You can overtake into turn 10, but usually it's on the cup layout where you can do that. It's a bit of a longer run into there. It's tough to get a clean move done on that short straight.
You know what? I think Smith might
was a great run.
have a chance this time.
I think this is that perfect distance that you were alluding to earlier, where he's got the run up, he's got the momentum, he can get that closing speed. But Clark, what's he going to do? He thinks about defending, doesn't do it yet. Going to have to do it at some point. You know what? If I were Luke Clark, I'd stay on the outside.
Because it works for him last time, didn't it?
Yeah, and Smith, the thing is, Smith would have to do something extraordinary around the outside of the next corner to make it work.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
I think he's got it under control if he uses the outside line. But the thing is, the outside line, you've got to be more precise, because if you get offline out there, like you said, there's marbles and there's all sorts of rubbish out there, and as well, if you go too wide, the camber falls off and it flattens out.
Yeah, no, all side by side now for Anwar Smith and Adam Broughton-Grant. Grant is so just desperate to get that move back. I'm surprised Richard Warmingham hasn't.
He's good in the slower stuff at the minute.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, fast stuff he looks okay in, but in the slower corners he's got that thing just absolutely dialed.
It's incredible how this lot are catching Anthony Jacobson still. Jacobson 2.5 seconds up the road from Clark. When they get a clean lap, they're about a second a lap faster.
I mean, they're
so
not
really
battling too hard yet, though. I mean, Clark's sort of
defending every corner now.
Well, he's going to have to now, yeah, definitely. He's not been, but in general, he's been able to keep doing his line. Jacobson in the mix of this could be interesting as well. I mean, Jacobson will be hoping with 3 laps to go that that doesn't happen, but I think they are going to catch him.
Yeah, and Cullinan within a second of Michael Gray now in the lead. So keep an eye on that one. But this time down the back straight, Anwar Smith close as ever. And you're right, Luke Clark wants the outside line.
Now he'll get a slight, tiny slipstream from the Mercedes. It's about a second and a half of the road from him. But Clark again is going to try the outside. He gets a twitch on as he turns into the corner, unsettles the balance. But Smith goes through, and that's done and dusted. And maybe Broughton-Grant as well. Broughton-Grant tries the outside. As Clark had to cover the inside. Now the cutback. As Clark makes a mistake, it's a bit of contact. But that's all fair game. It's just a bit of rubbing. And now Warmingham needs to be careful he doesn't get his nose chopped off by Broughton-Grant here. Because Broughton-Grant will be looking at the car in front. He's nailed it this time. Clark on the inside. Into the heel. At turn 8. Oh, he's got it.
Oh, surely, yeah.
What a good line that was. Nearly bumped him off to the outside of the track there.
That's a
Oh, he
brilliant-
slides it, Broughton Grand, though. He's out of
Ooh.
control on the exit, and here comes Clark again. Gonna have a look into 10. Well, he's going to take this. He might only have this one chance, Luke Clark, of staying in 5th place, but well, unable to do so this time. And here
That's
comes,
so close to turn 10.
and now we've got Anwar Smith.
Oh, we've got the
Absolutely.
leaders side by side up
Oh.
the hill.
Here we
Ralph
go then.
Cullinan.
Mickey Gray and Rafe Cullinan. Now, well, let's see what the BMW can do, Sam. Can it do anything?
Great as well. Seems to
Oh,
work
not
the
really.
outside. He doesn't have the straight line speed, does Cullinan, in that BMW. I think it's
He-
going to
he
be
was
down into turn
good.
1 where he's going to have the move, I think, like last time, because he's so quick at the end of the lap.
Cullinan was just gaining at the end of the straight, and that was it. That's the power of the Mercedes engine. And the lack of power of the BMW, but wide goes Gray. And that's going to be his goose cooked. Oh, it was almost his race cooked. Very wide. Rafe Cullinan into the lead. Good job there by the Irishman.
Yeah, like, he hit a bump as well, and I think that's pretty much game, set, and match.
Oh,
Ralph
Smith's
Cullinan
through
should
into
be able to
third.
drive into the...
Smith's into 3rd place. Sam, sorry to cut you off, but Anwar Smith has made it onto the podium.
Yeah, that was super quick how he caught up to Anthony Jacobson. Luke
Well,
Clark
I
still
thought he was
defending
taking at
against
least
Adam
a
Borton
lap.
Grant. Yeah. Wait, so did Clark get back past Borton Grant?
Oh, he must have
He
done.
must have done, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, at the end of the
That'll
back straight,
please,
I think.
that'll please Broughton Grant no end, won't it? After
Yeah,
that.
what-
Oh, Adam.
Yeah, 10 laps of following him, gets past and loses it half a lap later. That
What
must
did
be
we say
painful.
earlier on, though? We said
Oh,
that, didn't we?
yeah,
I think he's in the wall. I think Clark hit
Yeah.
the wall.
Hasn't slowed him down.
It's made him faster, if anything. What's happened there? To turn 1 they come. Oh! Broughton Grant. Absolutely on the ragged edge there. And here comes Warmingham. This could be the chance for the Bonnet Racing driver, Warmingham.
Borton Grant will not want to finish in 7th place, but he might do. Round
Oh,
the
man.
outside comes Warmingham. I think
Two-
the
2 laps ago,
Yeah.
Sam, it was looking like 3rd place for Adam Broughton Grant. And now it's going to be 6th or 7th, most likely.
Yeah, so annoying for him. His racecraft has been good, I think. He's just been really unlucky and really just couldn't get past Luke Clark. Here he comes again though on Richard Warmingham to the outside. No way through there. Warmingham, I think he's going to hang on to this one.
If he gets it turned round to the on the right hand there at 10-7. Broughton Grant slowing. Broughton Grant slowing. Oh, that's David S. Oh, it's the same colour scheme. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but here comes Rafe Cullinan. He's just got 2 corners to go after this one. Sorry, I was in chase cam and they look the same. So, through turn 10 they come. And Rafe Cullinan, well, 9th on the grid, made it through the absolute dumpster of a start, and he's made it through to win at Watkins Glen. Rafe Cullinan takes the checkered flag. Well done to him. Mickey Gray in 2nd. Then 3rd is Anwar Smith. And then Jacobson in 4th. 5th is Warmingham. And it's Broughton Grant. Clark was 7th, so Broughton Grant did actually get Clark at the end. Kip Stevens has come through in 8th. Lee Deemer in 9th. And then Colin Robinson in 10th. John Watson 11th, coming across now. In fact, John Watson just ahead of Robinson in the end, actually. So the
Luke
Ferrari
Clark-
dropping down.
Luke Clark crashed with just over a corner to go. If
Oh.
you just go back to the second to last corner, he went onto the grass and smashed into the barrier and lost 2 positions.
Oh, dear, it did.
So all of that work, he
Oh.
defended for 13 laps and he messes it up with 1 corner to go.
And yeah, you're right. He went onto the grass on the outside, and his ass is grass after that. Oh, what a shame for him. all the effort to defend. He'd relegated Broughton Grant down to 7th, but didn't last for him. And we're going to go through the finishing order in just a second. Because Michael Barry's just come across the finish, as has Scott Malcolm. And Jim Flanagan, well done to him. He came out just in front of the leaders, managed to avoid getting lapped. So it's lead lap for Jim Flanagan. David Ayres in 15th. And in fact, the only retirements were Carl Hardy and Adam McNally. Max Wright with his disconnection before the race, so that's just terrible luck, really. And
well, you say it was terrible luck. He may have avoided the accident.
Well, he would have got as many points as if he was in the accident, I suppose, which is none. Yeah. Only McNally and Hardy will be going home pointless after that race. But yeah, good one. It was a good one. And as the reverse grid is too big, we already know it's going to be on pole. So it's going to be David Ayres again. He's going to be in P1 for the start of race 3. And Jim Flanagan is going to be in 2nd. Scott Malcolm 3rd, Michael Barry 4th, and Colin Robinson in 5th. Right, well, we'll come back and do the next after the break here on the Apex Racing TV. The 3rd race, oh, hold on. My fault, new rules, let's see. 3rd race grid ordered by the finishing positions of race 2. Okay, so let's go through the results again and just confirm the grid then. So it won't be David Ayres, sorry David. Rafe Cullinan will be on pole with Michael Gray in 2nd, Anwar Smith in 3rd, Anthony Jacobson 4th, Richard Warming in 5th, Adam Broughton Grant in 6th, Luke Clark finished 7th, then it was Kip Stevens, Lee Deemer and John Watson rounding out the top 10, and then Colin Robinson 11th, Michael Barry 12th, Scott Malcolm in 13th, Jim Flanagan 14th, David Ayres 15th, and then it'll be Carl Hardy, Adam McNally and Max Wright rounding out the grid. Okay, so when you come back here on Apex Racing TV, we'll be back for race 3 of the evening in the BSR Grand Tour, and we'll see you in just a few minutes' time.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Hello and welcome back to the BSR Grand Tour. No, it's not Andrew Woodhouse. It's Adam Bath here, bringing you the final race of the day. Obviously, Andrew Woodhouse has been broadcasting for a good 7 hours or so he deserves a bit of a lie down. Joining me in the commentary box alongside me, Adam Bath, once again is Sam Fitzpatrick. And Sam, the overcast conditions are back for this final race, and let's hope we don't see what happened at the start of race 2.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see something even bigger if we can possibly. But yeah, maybe a few more cars getting through that first corner cleanly. Both races we've seen collisions coming up the hill. Like I said, very overcast, 18 degrees air temperature, 18 degrees track temperature. So plenty of grip for these drivers in this 35-minute race 3 event. The grid is the results from race 2. So yeah, should be a good one. Got a few fast drivers from the back who got caught up in that accident who will be fighting their way through the field, so watch out for them.
Yeah, Ralph Cullinan was very dominant in race 2, and he took the win, I believe, in the second race of the day, and he's going to be starting near the front again here for this final race. 35 minutes, slightly longer, this final race, and hopefully, yeah, it delivers the same excitement that we've had all season. Of course, this is just the start of a bumper week of action on Apex Racing TV. More sports car racing tomorrow with the World GT Championship. Then we've got the BSR MX-5s on the Tuesday night, and the BSR TC on the Thursday. So plenty of action as always. And of course, with the AOR on Friday night. Formula Renault, that was good. And now we can take you through the grid for the final race of the day. Starting on the pole position then, it is Ralph Cullinan, then Michael Gray in second, Anwar Smith in third, Anthony Jacobson fourth, Richard Warmingham starting in fifth, then Adam Broughton Grant in sixth, Luke Clark seventh, Kip Stevens in eighth, Lee Deemer ninth, John Watson in 10th, Colin Robinson starting in 11th, Mick Barry in 12th, Scott Malcolm in 13th place, Jim Flanagan 14th, David Ayres 15th, and starting at the back, Carl Hardy in 16th, and on all by himself on the back row of the grid, it's going to be Max. Right, cars are just waiting then for their formation lap to begin. And Sam, from what we've seen tonight, has any car had an advantage? Has the Mercedes or the Ferrari or any of the other cars decided to show a bit more speed or around this track than any of the other cars?
The majority of the cars out there are the Mercedes, and probably Anwar Smith has been the fastest out there today, and he's in a Mercedes. But Ralph Cullinan won the second race, and he's in a BMW, so there is a bit of diversity. I think Ralph does struggle around here. Down that back straight we've seen a few times today. He really struggles to make the overtakes just because that BMW is so low down on pace. So I think it is the Mercedes with the advantage. I think we've only got one Ferrari out there, which is Colin Robinson. Apart from that, actually I think there's another one. Is it Mick Barry, I think, in a Ferrari as well. So very few of them out there. So it's mainly Merc dominated.
And if you've just joined our coverage like I have, it was Anwar Smith that won the opening race of the day by quite some distance. I think he started on the pole and got the win. Race 2, Ralph Cullinan in a class of 1 as well. He won the race ahead of Michael Gray and Anwar Smith, and hence why that is the grid for the final race of the day here. Of course, earlier on in the season we went to the Nürburgring last week. We've been to Walton Park and we've been to COTA as well. We're here at Watkins Glen today, and hopefully we see this final 35-minute race by the same amount of excitement as we've had all the way so far tonight. Cars are on their formation lap then. Trying to find them actually on the screen. Helps if I have the camera not set to scenic. There we go. As they go through the carousel. I did wonder why nobody's showing up, but there is Ralph Cullinan and the BMW. Pretty good in race 2. Sam was able to hold back the Mercedes that you were highlighting were quite so dominant around here.
Yeah, and Anwar Smith was probably the main kind of highlight of that second race. Started down in, I think, about 15th position, had to drive his way up through the field, got caught up in a little bit of traffic, a really good battle between him and a few other drivers like Richard Warmingham, Adam Grant and Luke Clark. They had a great little tussle between them. That kind of just allowed Ralph Cullinan and Michael Gray to pull away in the lead, but Cullinan fully deserved that race victory, and I think he'll be looking for the same here, but going to struggle against that Mercedes power.
Yeah, 6/10 of a second, the margin of victory was over Michael Gray. 6/10 of a second between them, and Gray leading the lion's share of the laps. 8 laps led for him in race 2. Ralph Cullinan with just 2, and Anthony Jacobson leading 3. And he started on the second row of the grid, and I'll really explain why he got those. Right then, we've just come out of the boot section, and now we've just got to go through the final 2 corners, and we'll get this final race of the day on the road here. So Watkins Glen, through the penultimate corner they go. It's going to be Cullinan on the pole on the right-hand side, or on the left-hand side now as we look going into the final corner. And then Michael Gray in second, Anwar Smith third, Anthony Jacobson in fourth. That is the front 2 rows. We'll see if Ralph Cullinan will go straight away. There he goes. Green flag is in the air, and the final race of the day in the BSR Grand Tour is underway. First corner then, let's see what happens. Little lock-up, puff of tyre smoke there from Michael Gray in second place. Got to try and keep everyone behind. Fingers crossed we don't have similar situations will happen in race 2 as we go up through the S's here. Good start from Broughton Grant, 2 positions gained, and it looks like he's just going to pull clear as we go through the final part of the S's. And look, Sam, no one's been able to hit each other this time.
Yeah, I was fully expecting a crash. Here comes Will Smith though, coming down the inside, and Cullinan's so slow down the straights. He's got to go full defence, side by side for second and third, and round the outside goes Michael Gray. This would be incredible if he can make it all the way round. It was just a bit deep on the brakes, has to slot back in. Can he keep Anwar Smith behind? Down the inside, going onto the boot section. It's still side by side, and he just about pulls it into second place still.
Tell you what, this is going to be some drive from Ralph Cullinan if he can keep these guys behind. The BMW looks very vulnerable down that back straight. Good stuff from Kip Stevens, 3 positions gained for him. There's side-by-side racing between Richard Warmingham and Anthony Jacobson, plus Luke Clark and Jim Flanagan, also pretty close. Here comes Anwar Smith, possibly for second place, and Michael Gray overcooks it. Just about stays on the circuit, but the Mercedes of Smith through into second position.
Yep, just outbraked himself there, did great, made a couple of errors in the last race as well, which perhaps cost him the race victory. So that may have cost him a second place as well. Let's hope he can keep up, but Smith right onto the back of Cullinan now.
Oh, there's a spin in the back. That's Carl 875. That's Carl Hardy. Started 16th on the grid. Had made a pretty good start from where he was, but he's now right at the back of the field as we complete the opening lap. And we can't take our eyes off this front battle, because once again they're going to be building up the speed, and the BMW, without that bus stop chicane, really does look a sitting duck towards the end of the back straight, Sam.
Yeah, and here comes Smith again. Got the slipstream. He's going to have the momentum. We talked about it last time, how you want to have a little bit of a gap going on to the S's. And here comes Smith around the outside. Think he might be clear. The outside is kind of the line that you want. And look at that, midway down the straight, and he can already pull ahead. And now even Gray trying to get involved. But Smith, that was so easy for him.
Didn't have any DRS. He just had the power of the Mercedes, and it was able to fly by the BMW. And that's Anwar Smith in the lead. Second, Ralph Cullinan. Third, Michael Gray. Starting to put a little bit of distance between themselves and Adam Broughton Grant in fourth and Kip Stevens in fifth. See now that the BMW is in second place and has got a bit of slipstream, whether it can stay in touching distance with the Mercedes. Probably, Sam, with the slipstream that the BMW gets, it probably means it's on par with the Mercedes in terms of top speed now.
Yeah, we actually saw Ralph trying to go for a move on Michael in the last race, and it was only kind of in the very end of the straight could he gain a couple of kilometers an hour compared to Michael Gray. So so you're 100% right there with the slipstream just not giving enough advantage, and he's already dropping back. That's 8 tenths now for Anwar Smith's lead.
Yeah, great second lap of the race by Anwar Smith here. It is the first lap in anger, and he is going to set the fastest lap of the race as they come across the line to put the second lap in the books. Close battle here between, that must be Kip Stevens, isn't it? Yes, it is, and Adam Broughton Grant. Broughton Grant taking the defensive line into the first corner, and Kip does have a little look at the inside going into turn 2. no way through for the two-time BSR TC champion. Luke Clark's also got by Richard Warmingham, who's just behind these two. Kip rewards about trying to find a position. Don't get too close, otherwise you may be off on the wall. And with the Armco barriers this close around the circuit, you usually don't end up with the car in one piece if you have a big one hit.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw a couple of pile-ups across today due to the tight barriers. Kip Stevens and Adam Bolton Grant side by side, just all the way around the outside. You really like that outside line if you can take it there, and Kip Stevens there with the move moves himself up into 4th position. Bolton Grant will try to come back. Don't think there's any response though.
What a race this is turning into from Kip Stevens. 4 positions gained. He's the second biggest mover in the field. Problem for Anthony Jacobson, I think, and maybe even for just Anthony Jacobson. He has lost a few positions, down to 14th place now. 10 positions lost for him.
Just hits Kip Stevens and back ahead now. So Stevens got a poor run coming out of the toe and lost it coming down into the heel, and he'll try to fight back, but yeah, a little bit of contact between the two of them. Looks to the inside, you can't do it there, just has to back out.
That was closer, but I think if they wanted any chances of getting to the top 3, I think that's gone now. Now that they're fighting each other, you can see that they are already 2.5 seconds up the road as they come across the line to complete lap 3 of the race. So a little bit of a lock-up again there from Michael Gray just up in front going into the first corner. Now we'll see if Kip Stevens can get the position. He uses all of that tarmac runoff area on the exit, the first corner. If anything, that looks like it may have just hampered his exit from the first corner here as they build up the speed again. Obviously Adam Brawson Grant hasn't got a hope in terms of any slipstream, so he's going to have to rely on his defensive work to keep the two-time BSR TC champion at bay as Luke Clark and Richard Warmingham now start to enter this battle here. And oh look, here comes Anwar Smith for second place going into the carousel. The BMW will be able to hold its own around the outside though. If that's one thing that the BMW's got, it is the grip and the speed off the exit of the corners. And Cullinan takes the lead back.
Yeah, how about that? Did not expect that. Oh, down the inside though again for Smith. Cullinan left it open, got away with it, but it looked like Smith was pulling away, didn't it? And all of a sudden, Cullinan was right on back on the tail and had great grip on the outside of that corner of the carousel.
Well, if you're able to win a race in a BMW in this series with the Mercedes and the Audis and the Ferraris being so strong, then you are definitely doing something right. And Ralph Cullinan taking the lead back from Anwar Smith, who looks set to just drive away from the BMW after he took the lead at the end of the opening lap. But Anwar Smith, he already wants it back already. Through the penultimate corner and into the final corner, you can sense another move coming here as the Mercedes slides about under braking as they come up onto the front straight. Don't think there's first corner, surely not an overtaking move. It's just too quick of a corner, and Anwar Smith knows that and probably going to bide his time until he gets back onto the back straight again.
Yeah, painful for Ralph Cullinan because there's literally nothing he can do. As we come up the hill again, I don't think he's going to have any kind of defense against Anwar Smith. May just be worth, if he does get overtaken here, just sit in behind, but the overspeed for Anwar Smith is so large. To the outside he comes. This is the line that you want. We've seen so many times today, but I think maybe Ralph can hold it down the inside, but no, all the way around the outside comes Anwar. Going to have the inside for the boot section, and I think he's just about going to have BMW no round.
Oh no, he could have saved it, but he went into the wall, and that's Ralph Cullinan's chances of winning this race scuppered. It's allowed Anwar Smith to break into a 1.7 second lead, and unfortunately that looked like it had all the chances of happening, and it really did.
Yeah, he tried to squeeze him on the inside. Adam Bolton got now up to second place from fifth, I think, a couple of laps ago. Down the inside is that Luke Clark going down the inside of Kip Stevens. So Stevens really losing out all of a sudden here. Stevens will try to fight back into turn 9, side by side here. No, another spin. Or half spin.
Yeah, that was the half spin for, that was Richard Warmingham. No, Luke Clark. It was number 5 that bought that car. Yeah, it was him. Fortunately for Ralph Cullinan, he is back on the circuit, but I don't know the extent of the damage. Might even been a bit of netcode with Richard with Adam Brawson Grant, because there is a bit of front end damage to the Mercedes. as they come across the line to complete lap 5 of the race. So what drama there, and it does mean now that Anwar Smith has a 1.9 second advantage, and unless anything dramatic happens, Sam or Adam Broughton Grant puts in a sudden surge of pace, it looks like it's going to be the UK and Ireland Mercedes that's going to be on its way to victory here, even with 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, certainly seems that way, unless, like I said, Broughton Grant can inject a bit of speed. Michael Gray fancies his chances as well. He's trying to look for the entire... These two have got to work together to pull away from the cars behind, because I think they've got the chance to, because I think they're the second and third fastest cars out there. But they're just fighting at the moment, and they're really losing touch. I thought Gray was going to go onto the grass there, into the wall, hung on to it. But yet, there's Anwar Smith getting away whilst these two are fighting.
What a race this is turning into for Jim Flanagan. 8 positions gained, started 14th, now up to 6th. Just got past Richard Warmingham on this lap. And yeah, he's flying. He's only 4 seconds off the lead. And yeah, the Team Mad Mercedes is right on it. You did say, Sam, at the beginning that we have some of the faster cars starting towards the rear of the field. And Jim Flanagan looks like he's one of the cars making their way through the field with ease here as he closes in on the battle of Clark, Stevens and Gray.
Yeah, Flanagan finished second in the first race, but got caught up in the pile-up in the second race on the first lap. So that's why he started so far down, and yeah, he's easily making his way up through the field at the moment, and he'll be looking for a second place, I think. Broughton Grant just managed to open up the gap to Gray. Gray had to defend for a couple of corners against Stevens, and that's just a massive pack, and I think Broughton Grant needs to break the slipstream to Gray, otherwise Gray will just carry on coming back and attacking him and losing themselves time.
Onto the back straight they go again then. Flanagan's lining up Clark as Kip Stevens is lining up Michael Gray. I wonder if that bit of front end damage to Gray's car may be hampering him in terms of straight line speed here as they go down the back straight. Gap to the leaders up to 3 seconds as well. No overtakes there. Just looking further into the midfield, we've got Ralph Cullinan leading around this second group of cars. The front bonnet of the car is gone, and he's got John Watson for company, who's now got Scott Malcolm trying to overtake him. Then we see the first of the Ferraris. That's Colin Robinson as well, having a little look at the inside going into the hill section.
Yeah, this lot's super close. John Watson's been fighting hard all day long, and down the inside goes Scott Malcolm, not quite. Watson just about hangs on. Watson was put up in the pile-up in the second race and managed to limp round for the entire race with a damaged car, came home in 10th, I think, which was a pretty good effort, I think. But yeah, Colin Robinson looking pretty good in that Ferrari. Hopefully he can represent the Italian team well.
We're going to look at the inside, and John Watson falling a bit behind the BMW now. Ralph Cullen has decided to put a few attempts at advantage. Into the pits comes Michael Gray. Of course, in race 3 it is a pit stop race. At least that's what I remember from when we did COTA. Here comes Kip Stevens. He's under pressure. Up the inside goes the Mercedes. Stevens doesn't give him the most space in the world on the inside there and tries to carry the speed around the outside as him and Clark fight over what is third position now that Warmingham's coming, now that Gray's coming to the pits along with Max Wright. And these three are going to be very close indeed as Flanagan eyes up more positions.
Yeah, Flanagan, will he go to the inside here? No room. Could maybe make this 3 wide. He's looking to the inside. There is no space there, but here he goes. Past 1. Can he go around the outside of 2? All the way around, a little bit tight there for Luke Clark on the curve, and that's going to allow Flanagan to go up into 3rd position. And now Kip Stevens trying to get involved, still not giving up as Luke Clark, but Flanagan's got it. And now, yeah, Kip Stevens, Clark a little bit off the track. Stevens will just have to slot in behind, I think. No, a little bit contact.
Yeah, Luke Clark, a passing comment there to Jim Flanagan, who almost certainly will now escape up the road. It's not out of the question that Flanagan could get a win in this final race. He was so quick in race 1, finished in 2nd place there. As Clark goes wide, Stevens has the opportunity, but just not close enough to take advantage here on lap 8 of the race. We'll see if any of these drivers come into the pits at the end of this lap. Saw Michael Gray coming in, 9.1 second stop for him. He's back on the road again. Also in Michael Gray, Max Wright with a 9.1 second stop. It was Gray with a 20.1 second stop. See if anyone comes in here, as Flanagan doesn't, neither does anybody else. So they're all going for a few extra laps. As over the line goes Smith, Broughton Grant, then Flanagan. What lap time does Flanagan do? Considering he was in that battle, he does a 43.3, which is 1.3 seconds slower. So that does mean that the gap between him and our leader, Adam Broughton Anwar Smith, is 5.9 seconds. So he has got a lot of work to do. He's going to get the win in the final 20 minutes of the race.
Yeah, and Stevens lining up Clark again. These two are just glued together right now. Richard Warmingham as well. Warmingham's been in battles throughout, and here comes Warmingham actually. I think Stevens is struggling down the straight with a bit of damage. Warmingham goes to the inside. Can Stevens hang around? No, if anything, Kip just let him have that, I think. Unless he's looking for a way back through onto the boot maybe, and he just has to slot in behind. Stevens losing time with that damage, I think.
It's having a significant impact, isn't it? The Mercedes just doesn't seem to have the pace as it did a few laps ago when Stevens was one of the biggest movers in the field. But now he's trying to get some of the positions back as he tries to line up Richard Warmingham here through the back section of the boot layout. We come here for the BSR TC on Thursday. Might be this layout, I'm not too sure. But Richard Warmingham trying to get past Luke Clark as well. Clark running a little bit wide through the heel. Now into the final part of the boot section and back out onto the cup layout of the circuit, using all of the exit of the circuit there. Mick Barry out of the race, been out of the race for 5 minutes now, so something happening to Mick there, and his race is over. Flanagan running very wide for the final corner. Into the pits comes, that must be Lee Diemer, it is. So the Mercedes coming down the pit lane, and he is the latest driver to come in and get the mandatory pit stop out of the way.
Yeah, I think that's smart from Lee, because he was just at the tail of that pack, I think, and I think it was worth just coming in, getting his pit stop done, get a bit of clear air, and maybe try to jump lots of those drivers. Watch where he comes out compared to Michael Gray, who pitted a couple of laps ago. I think Gray should be quite far clear. It will give an indication. In fact, Diemer already away. Gray just coming out of the final corner, so this could be close actually, and Diemer's miles ahead. So Gray had a 20-second stop, Diemer only a 9-second stop, so something must have happened to Michael Gray in that pit stop.
That almost showed. Oh, Stevens, he loses it going through the boot section. I think he sped on the way into the pit lane.
Yeah.
Almost certainly with that amount of time added on. And that's going to cost Michael Gray dear at the end of it. David Ayres is in the pits. He is doing his pit stop now, and he's in there for quite a long time as well. He's been in there for 13.6 seconds, just making sure that it's filled all the way up. Jim Flanagan didn't set the world alight on that last lap. It was Anwar Smith that was the quickest driver, 41.8. It's 1/10 shy of his personal best, which is the fastest lap of the race, as well as Smith comes through the penultimate corner. Is he going to take the opportunity to pit now, try and get the pit stop out of the way? He does clip the curb going through the final corner, but he doesn't come into the pits. What about Adam Broughton Grant? He stays out again. May even just be unsafe pit entry. I don't know what it's like with the yellow line as into the pits comes. That is Kip Stevens. Yeah, it is. But maybe that might have been a reason for Michael Gray's penalty.
Yeah, maybe, but you don't have to be on the inside of that yellow line on the pit entry. You don't have to be on the inside of it for all of it. You don't have to be on the inside of it going through the final corner. You just need to get in just in time before you hit the pit limiter line. But Stevens coming out to the pits ahead of Gray, but a long way behind Diemer. So yeah, looking good for Lee Diemer actually, because Stevens was a couple of seconds up the road.
Yeah, so Lee Diemer now up to 12th place. Obviously everyone else has yet to pit, and I wonder where he could be once this is all shaken out. I don't think he's going to get first, but could have gained about 3 or 4 positions. Total pit lane time for most of these guys is around 32 seconds, so you are losing half a minute. And if you look at the times now, the real time gaps, that would put Lee Diemer in around 3rd or 4th position if he pays it right. So hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes, and we could see a great pit stop strategy and masterstroke perhaps here, as once again the driver's coming through the final corner on lap 11 of the race. Just over a quarter of an hour to go, and none of the top two coming in. Jim Flanagan stays out, so do the two cars behind him of Warmingham and Cullinan. And Malcolm Watson also staying out, as well as Lee Deemer gets past Anthony Jacobson, who I think's had a spin in the back section of the heel.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't quite catch that one, but Anthony just struggling a little bit there, mixing around with the drivers who have already pitted, so should be quite elementary for Kip Stevens just to make the move here, although he needs to get on with it, and actually Anthony Jacobson now into the pits. Stevens didn't leave too much space there, but Warmingham right on the tail of Luke Clark again. These two, I swear, every time we look at these two, I think they've been fighting each other throughout the championship. They had a classic second race against each other, and once again they're glued together here.
Yeah, they're having a very good race here, the two Mercedes. And yeah, Clark last time around, what lap time did he do? 42.4, 42.3, just a few tenths of a second between them. In fact, less than a tenth, as John Watson passes Scott Malcolm, who's had a spin. Yeah, or a crash.
It was just a spin, I think. Lucky not to hit the wall.
Well, the Scotsman in strife there. He has dropped down to 9th place as a result. Yet to pit as well. See if he comes in at the end of this lap to get a bit of fuel. Looks like definitely no tyres. Of course, the rules in terms of the pit stops with these cars, as Kip Stevens has had an issue. Kip Stevens is off just where Scott Malcolm was off, so maybe the damage, either the damage hasn't repaired itself and he's still struggling with the car, or he's just had an issue just recently. So that's him now down to 14th place, and it's all unravelling here for Kip Stevens in the last few laps of the race.
That's incredible how Stevens just did the exact same spin. It was, they couldn't have aimed to have more synchronized spinning there. It was Stevens dropping down now, and looked so strong earlier on, but then picked up that damage, and since then just went back down the field, and that's really just ruined his race. Had a slow pit stop as well, so, or not a slowish pit stop at least. Lost some time in that, so not a good race day for Kip whatsoever.
And I doubt he'd been studying the tapes of what happened to Scott Malcolm, but yeah, that was near on. A replica spin for him. Less than a quarter of an hour to go now, 13 minutes to go. Scott Malcolm's been in to make a pit stop, so he's back out again. 16.4 second stop as well for him. That is one of the slowest pit stops of the day, and I don't think he got a speeding penalty either, so must have fueled the tank up quite high there. Either that or he changed some tyres as well. But Anwar Smith continues to lead. Luke Clark and Richard Warmingham still very close, and I wonder if the pit stop window could do something to separate these two, or maybe even change a position, as well as those two Mercedes, the pink Mercedes of Clark and the blue Mercedes of Warmingham, go through the final part of the boot section and into the final corner, as Anwar Smith continues on his way. Adam Brawson Grant through the final corner stays out as well, so does Flanagan. Clark and Warmingham doing exactly the same as well. So the top 5 all yet to pit. In fact, the top 9 all yet to pit. Cullinan, Watson, Robinson and Hardy all yet to make a stop, and building ourselves up here, Sam, for a very exciting final 10 minutes with pretty much the top 10 still all to make a pit stop.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Richard Warmingham hasn't pitted yet. I would have thought he'd just do the opposite of Luke Clark, because he's really stuck behind. Maybe half the chance here. Closing for Warmingham. Down to 2/10 of a second. I think Luke Clark's going to defend here. I think if anything, I think they've got a bit of an agreement between one another not to fight, otherwise they will just carry on losing time. They can both get a podium still from this, so if they can just follow each other around, maybe Warmingham can save a little bit of fuel now, maybe save him, half a second in the pit stop, and maybe that's his strategy. But right now he's just bottled up stuff.
That could be the plan. Don't have to put as much fuel in the pit stop, and that could get him out ahead, save him a few tenths of a second. Either way, they're still pretty close to each other, Clark and Warmingham here, as they go through the final part of the boot section. Worth mentioning the track temperature today is only 18 degrees Celsius for this final race, so that will definitely help the tyres somewhat, hence why no one is bothering to change them in the pit stops. Want to keep their track position for as long as they can, as this time Anwar Smith goes through the final corner and comes into the pits. Anwar Smith in from the lead, and Adam Broughton Grant is going to stay out, and we'll see if that has an impact at all. Warming him in, and Flanagan stays out as well. Clark stays out too, so strategies getting split here in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, a couple of big laps now for Adam Broughton Grant and Jim Flanagan to try to close that gap as much as possible. Anwar did start to put in a couple of slower laps, and particularly Jim Flanagan was starting to close the gap ever so slightly, but it wasn't enough really, so they need to deliver some incredible laps now and hope Warmingham comes out in some traffic.
Well, Anwar Smith's pit stop was the slowest of them. 17.2 seconds for Anwar Smith there. Didn't see whether he took tyres or not, but the race leader could be in jeopardy here if the cars are still on the track have a quicker pit stop. Lee Deemer, 8.8 seconds. Lee Deemer's only 3 seconds away from Anwar Smith now. The driver that came into pit very early on has now got a chance to potentially close in on Anwar Smith. Richard Warmingham did a 12.9 second stop, so we'll see if Luke Clark can better that and keep himself ahead. Michael Graver's 20-second stop is right now in effective 4th, but we are still yet to see everyone else coming. Adam Broughton Grant then leads, Flanagan 2nd, Luke Clark 3rd, John Watson 4th, Carl Hardy 5th. Still await the top 5 to make their one and only pit stops. Could this be the lap for Adam Broughton Grant?
Yeah, whatever happens, they're surely going to take the lead here. Whatever happens, as long as they don't have a similar pit stop. Oh wait, that was a late decision, was it not? But Jim Flanagan in as well. I was certain Adam Broughton Grant wasn't going to pit there, but he just ducked in at the last moment. Luke Clark in as well, so I think everyone who hasn't pitted yet is now into the pits.
Now, I don't know what is classed as an unsafe entry, but I know iRacing can be annoying at times, and hopefully for Adam Broughton Grant's sake, that was not an unsafe entry into the pit lane. We'll wait and see. John Watson takes the lead. Anwar Smith is coming onto the front straight now. Flanagan's away, 10.5 second stop. Adam Broughton Grant thankfully hasn't had a unsafe pit entry, and there is Anwar Smith. Not going to be in the lead. He's not even going to be in second position if Jim Flanagan get out of the pit lane, and he duly does. Anwar Smith is now down to 4th, with John Watson yet to make his pit stop, but is an ineffective 3rd position after all that cycled through, Sam.
Yeah, and now he needs to make the move on Flanagan if he's going to catch up to Adam Broughton Grant, right up to the grass there. Flanagan defends to the outside. Now comes Anwar Smith. This is the line that you want, down the outside, and swoops around the outside. That's an easy move for him. I don't know if it's because his tyres are up to temperature or something. Flanagan kind of fighting back, a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but pretty simple that overtake for Anwar Smith, and the race win is perhaps back on because he's only 1.5 seconds behind Adam Broughton Grant.
1 minute 42 lap, and we've got 7 3/4 minutes to go here, so there is still ample opportunity for Adam Broughton Grant to get for Anwar Smith to get close and potentially win this race. Well then, with John Watson yet to pit, we can pretty much cycle you through how this looks. Adam Broughton Grant is the effective race leader. Anwar Smith now in 2nd. He's 1.3 seconds behind. He needs to try and close that gap with 7 minutes to go. Flanagan is in 3rd. Then it's Clark 4th, Deemer in 5th, so he has gained quite a few positions there. He's leapfrogged Warmingham and Gray in that pit stop window. Max Wright as well. So Luke Clark has now gone from having Richard Warmingham on his tail to having Lee Deemer right behind him, as well as John Watson pits from the lead and relinquishes it to everybody else. Right then, Anwar Smith on that last lap, 42.1. This is now going to be the first lap in anger for Adam Broughton Grant, so we'll see what he can do. Gap is 0.5 second, and Sam, even without having a representative lap time from Adam Broughton Grant, you can see that that Smith is a good 0.5 second a lap quicker already.
Yeah, Broughton Grant made an error in the last corner. I heard his tyres really loud, and here he goes, has to go defensive. Here comes Smith. going to try the same move as last time. He's so confident on the outside, a bit of contact, I think, there, all the way around. I think he's going to have the inside here for the next corner. And Anwar Smith with 2 moves in 2 laps, and that may have just got him the race victory. Is there any way back for Watkins Glen now? Looking to the inside, not going to have it, has to go to the outside, and you're not going to make it round there. Needs to be careful from Jim Flanagan behind, and he needs to get the launch off here. And he's going to have a chance now down into the toe, into the heel, side by side. They come down, big braking zone this, and Anwar Smith just about holds on.
Still not over yet as they go through the final section of the boot here. Jim Flanagan also fouls an opportunity on the brakes. Smith going through the left-hander, and yeah, he's taken the lead back 2 moves in exactly the same corner. I was wondering whether if you were the car in front, maybe it was best to not move to the inside, because then you'd have the outside for the carousel and have what seems to be the better grip as they come through the final corner. And while Smith taking quite a lot of the exit curb there, which does allow Adam Broughton Grant to close in a little bit as it comes across the line, plus he would have picked up the toe as well. 5 minutes to go here, and now we'll see what Adam Broughton Grant can do as they go through the first corner, take all that runoff area to try and keep the speed as high as it can. Up the hill they go, and now we'll see the slipstream advantage. Probably the first time since that crash with Ralph Cullinan that Adam Broughton Grant is in the slipstream, but it looks like the Jim Flanagan is the one that wants to be doing the attacking here. Flanagan looking to the inside, going into the carousel. Obviously, Broughton Grant will be on the outside, so he might be able to use that grip out there to try and power him back into second place, and Flanagan knows that. He's trying to drift the Mercedes out wide, but in doing so, they could lose the touching distance with Anwar Smith here as they continue to go wheel to wheel into the...
He's round. No, oh wow. Well, that's the race win over for those two, because they've just cost each other time. Flanagan makes it round. Broughton Grant, how did he hang on to that one? But Anwar Smith now with a 1.5 second lead with what, 1 more lap to go at the conclusion of this one, so he should be safe.
May get a few more in. I know the clock says 35 minutes on the iRacing window, but I think we have got still about 4 minutes left, so I think, yeah, it is still a formality, I think. Anwar Smith has got the gap up to 1.4 seconds, and unless Jim Flanagan can really put the hammer down, it's going to be Smith taking victory here in the final race of the day in the BSR Grand Tour. Running order then is Flanagan in second, 12 positions gained, biggest mover in the field. Then it's Broughton Grant in third, Clark fourth, Deemer in fifth, then sixth, Richard Warmingham all by himself. Then it's John Watson in 7th place, 7.9 seconds stop for him as well, so he did actually gain a few positions there. Then Michael Gray in 8th, 9th Max Rice, and 10th is Ralph Cullinan. Through into second place goes Adam Broughton Grant. He's got it back. Don't know what happened to Jim Flanagan there, because it did look like he had second place comfortably, but the red and white Merc of Broughton Grant now into second place again as these two continue their fight for the runners-up spot.
Yeah, I think it was a poor exit from the last corner for Flanagan, and here comes Flanagan again on the outside. This is where he wants to be. He repeated it a few times today. And yep, straight through there. That was surprisingly easy. Had a lot of overspeed, and yep, Adam Broughton Grant just had to slot in behind. Anyway, through here, no, Flanagan hanging on, but they're now 2 seconds behind the leader. They've just lost each other so much time. They've lost each other a potential race win, I think, because if they've just kept within the slipstream of the leader, I think they could have fought for the win.
Are we seeing different wing setups here? Jim Flanagan looks so much quicker than Broughton Grant in the straight line, and both cars seem to be perfectly clean without any damage.
Yeah, on the last lap we saw Flanagan come from quite a far way back to attack, didn't we? So yeah, you might be onto something there. And now Luke Clark and Lee Deemer trying to get involved in this one. I think they might be able to catch up before the conclusion.
Yeah, they are closing. Last time around 42.8, 43.2 for the cars in second and third. 42.5s for both Clark and Deemer. It's not completely out of the question for them to get the win. As Anwar Smith comes across the line to start the penultimate lap of the race. We've got 1 minute 53 still on the clock, so we will squeeze in 2 more laps as they cross the line. 42.1 for Anwar Smith. He's still setting lap times pretty close to his personal best from earlier on. What did Flanagan do? 42.6, 43 dead for Broughton Grant. Luke Clark did a 42.4, 0.6 of a second quicker. He might just be starting to pick up a bit of toe if Clark can close in just a little bit more. there might not be enough laps left for him to get to third position. Clark is definitely going to give them something to worry about if these two start battling again, as Broughton Grant closes in the slipstream. But Flanagan, even without any slipstream, the power and the top speed that Team Mad Mercedes possesses is keeping him ahead of Broughton Grant for now.
Yeah, I think you're right with the wing setting. I think Flanagan has got a bit more straight line speed. Certainly in the race that I've done around here, you can have a lot of different kind of setups down here. You can go high downforce or low downforce and really get away with both. A little bit wide there for Broughton Grant. He's keeping in touch, half a second behind, but I think Flanagan's got the pace, and Flanagan on this lap even faster than Anwar Smith, but he's just too far behind to launch an attack.
Not long to go then. When we get to the line, we're going to be starting the final lap of the race, and what an entertaining one this has been. The pit stops always throw up something, and even with a slow pit stop for Anwar Smith, it did not stop him getting to the front. Through the final corner then, white flag will be in the air, and it'll be just one more tour of this 5.4 kilometre circuit of 11 corners. Over the line we go. It's Smith leading Flanagan by 1.8 seconds. Good lap by Flanagan on that last lap, 0.2 of a second quicker than Anwar Smith, as Adam Broughton Grant goes very wide through the first corner as John Watson has to pit for a second time. Surely that indicates that he did not have enough fuel to get to the end, and poor John Watson is going to have to come in and pick up a little bit of fuel to just get him across the line.
Yeah, it's painful, this having to go back to the pits, clearly underfueled like you said. Let's wait to see if anyone else is perhaps underfueled. No signs of that, haven't seen anyone lifting coast, and Luke Clark actually closing on the Broughton Grant. Clark deep on the brakes, help! He's off the track though, he's going to lose a position surely, side by side now with Lee Deemer. Deemer, can he cut the inside? Yes he can. So Luke Clark with an error like we saw in the second race, an error on the last lap which has cost him a position.
Not long to go then. Final section of the boot, and here comes Deemer. He's got it done. He's through into 5 positions gained for Lee Deemer. Luke Clark was holding on to that best of the rest position all race, and now he wants it back. He's up the inside.
Whoa.
That is not going to work. And he's into the gravel with a few corners to go, and that's Deemer definitely in 4th position. But fortunately for Clark, I think he's going to be able to hold back Richard Warmingham. But meanwhile, into the final few corners, Anwar Smith, nothing was going to stop him in this race today. Even with the likes of Ralph Cullinan and Jim Flanagan and Adam Broughton Grant putting up a fight, he's going to come through and take the victory here in the feature final race here in the BSR Grand Tour. Second for Jim Flanagan. Good race from him, biggest move in the field as well. Third for Adam Broughton Grant, Deemer 4th, and Luke Clark is going to finish in 5th place in the end. Everybody else coming across the line, Michael Gray finishing in 7th position, setting a personal best on his way to that place. Scott Malcolm coming across the line to finish in 11th. Getting a position now on the last lap as a result of the demise of John Watson. Watson going to come through and finish in 13th place in the end. He had to stop for 4 seconds to get that little extra fuel to get him home. And then Colin Robinson going to come through and finish in 14th with Jacobson, 15th and 16th place with David Ayres. And Sam, that pit stop window with 10 minutes to go, it threw everything open, and Anwar Smith was able to answer even with the slow pit stop.
Yeah, those two overtaking moves were just carbon copies of each other, and he was just so confident on the brakes going into the carousel and carried so much entry speed and managed to hold it round the outside for those two moves. Jim Flanagan from 14th on the grid. I think he was perhaps the fastest. I think him and Anwar were pretty much joint fastest up there. He'll be regretting that. Perhaps he couldn't defend a little bit more with a couple of laps to go, but to be fair, good job from him and Adam Broughton Grant. Again, he could have perhaps won the race, but him and Flanagan had a brilliant battle throughout.
Well, let's run you through the finishing order then from this final race. Anwar Smith wins, Jim Flanagan second, car 88 winning, car 89 finishing in second. Adam Broughton Grant finishing in third, then Lee Deemer 4th, Luke Clark in 5th, 6th for Richard Warmingham, 7th for Michael Gray, 8th for Max Wright, 9th for Ralph Cullinan, the pole sitter of the BMW, despite the hefty contact with the wall. finishing in the top 10 still. 10 for Kip Stevens, 11th for Scott Malcolm, 12th Carl Hardy, 13th for John Watson, 14th Colin Robinson, 15th place finish for Anthony Jacobson, 16th for David Ayres, and the only car not to finish the race, Mick Barry, in 17th. Right then, just a reminder before we go, BSR MX5 Tuesday World GT Championship returns as well on Monday. We've got the free sprint races back again after our endurance race last Monday. Then Thursday, BSR TC back at this circuit again. That's definitely going to be one to watch. Thursday at 8 o'clock BST for that one. And then Friday, Apex Online Racing back at it again in the Formula Renaults. And then the whole weekend's action again in with this on Sunday. Possibly more of the VTEC Endurance Series. Credit to Andrew and Sam, and Sam Kumo as well on the cameras, because Sam did do the first part of the endurance race early on. Or did you end up doing the whole broadcast in the end, Sam? For that
I did the whole thing, so this is about 6 hours for me today, but I've enjoyed every single minute.
Oh, there we go. Great race to end, and yeah, I've only been here for a good hour, so slacking. But thanks to Sam Fitzpatrick and to Sam Kumo for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks to Andrew Woodhouse as well for doing the opening 2 races while I got back from work. And as usual, make sure to give the channel a subscribe and a like as well, and helps the channel grow. And make sure you join us for the rest of the broadcast throughout the week by putting your post notifications on so you get notified when we go live. But for now, that is all from here at Watkins Glen. And what a race that was from Anwar Smith in the BSR Grand Tour. We'll see you next week. 8 o'clock BST. Good night.